Well, Dom, it's great to have you on the
Yeah, good
podcast.
morning.
Um, Episode 4, CEO Under 30 podcast. For those who don't know Dominic Miller, he's a top producing real estate agent, not just in Denver, but in Colorado as a whole. Uh, Number 3 in Denver for transactions so far this year, which is an awesome accomplishment.
Last
And
year.
last year,
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah. No,
last
last
year,
year, yeah, 2024.
2024.
Thank you, though.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
of
thank you.
course. And doing all this at 27 years old.
Uh-huh.
So it's awesome, man. It's awesome to have you on the podcast. I'm excited to learn from you.
I appreciate it.
So I want to start this off with just kind of understanding why real estate, because
Yeah.
you went to college, correct?
Yeah, I went to school for a couple years. I was young. I didn't really know what I was wanting to do or where I was really trying to go. But I got into project management. So I was doing like exterior sales for like a roofing company. So I was doing like roofs and gutters, door knocking, getting appointments set. And I did that for like a year when I lived in Wyoming, Sheridan, Wyoming. So I did that for a year and I did really well. And I was like, to hell with college. Like I made good money when I was like 19. I'm like, I'll just keep going on like the sales role. So I did that for a year in Wyoming. Then my wife and I moved to Colorado. I did that for like a year and a half-ish here. COVID hit and then things kind of slowed down. I'm like, I just didn't love like making promises that I couldn't like personally fulfill. Like I'm not doing the actual work itself. And I always wanted to have investments in real estate. Like I wanted to get into development. So I was like, let's just let's give it a shot. So nothing crazy. It was more so like I kind of wanted to have rentals and a portfolio. I'm like, well, I'll just kind of, learn the ropes, cut my teeth and figure out if it makes sense. And luckily like it just made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What did you go to college for?
I wanted to be a teacher. So I only went for 2 years. So
Okay.
I wanted to be an English teacher. Which I don't know. It's funny thinking back on it. But yeah, so I went 2 years, got my associates.
Okay.
I knew that like school wasn't really the path I was really like bound for, but it just seemed to like make sense. I didn't know what I was doing. But just the teacher was like my goal, high school English teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
I wanted the summers off and
Yeah.
camp and hike and stuff.
Big outdoors guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like to fish, camp, ski. I'm big
Cool.
into skiing. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I was kind of in a similar boat
Okay.
when I got out of high school, because you see all your friends going to college, and I don't know, I feel like that's what, year 1 through 12 kind of prepares you for.
Sure.
You get out of high school and it's like the right thing to do is to just go to college.
Mhm.
I feel like we're starting to see a little shift
Mhm.
with that.
think
More
so.
and more people are getting into trades and doing real estate and getting into sales.
Mhm.
But I was in the same boat. I thought I
Okay.
had to go to school. And it just wasn't cut out for me. I knew
Sure.
pretty quickly that I wasn't going to do very well in college.
Yeah.
So kind of got forced into entrepreneurship. And so it sounds
Good.
like,
Honestly, good.
yeah, it's been great. What do you think you learned from roofing that set you up into the real estate game? And I asked this question because for my company, my target market is roofing companies and
Sure.
realtors.
Yeah. Sure.
And so I see a lot of contrasts there to some extent, but do you feel like the time you had in roofing kind of set you up for some sort of success in real estate?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So the roofing company, we weren't like chasing hailstorms, but like roofing, a lot of like that is banking on like insurance. So we were, so like you see a hailstorm hit or whatever, and we had like this little territory in like Northeast Wyoming, and so we would just like door knock. And I think learning how to like get that door slammed in your face and like just hearing no over and over and over again, it cuts your teeth in a really good way, and it helps you. If you're doing cold calls or whatever outreach you're doing for like a sales organization, I think that's like very fundamental skills to learn is door knocking. It's very difficult. It's not very enjoyable. So that for one, like that was, yeah, bar none, like helped me out a lot there. And then just understanding the skills of like, how do you speak to clients? How do you speak to customers? How do you manage things? Right. Like, so absolutely. I'd say that's like a great stepping stone for me. I don't think that, and actually to take it back too, like the roof's important in real estate too. So like having that knowledge is helpful. But in terms of like being successful in real estate, I think for sure door knocking like taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Like it made cold calling not very difficult.
Yeah. Well, it's cool because, there's like 40,000 realtors in Colorado.
Uh-huh.
And from my understanding, and I don't know too much, but real estate commissions can be quite high.
Sure.
And so I think
Sure.
most people that I see in real estate are okay selling, a couple houses a year because
Uh-huh.
it pays the bills. A lot of realtors, in my experience, aren't always willing to put themselves out there and do the cold calls and do the door knocking. And I think the roofing probably gave you that experience to like really just put yourself out there more
Yeah.
because you have to
Yeah.
with roofing.
Yeah.
I feel like some realtors can get by without having to do that. But if you want to
For sure.
sell, over 70 houses in a year, you kind of got to do that,
Yeah.
those things.
And I think that's like the blessing about real estate in a lot of different industries, of course. But like you said, there's 40,000 agents in Denver Metro or Colorado or whatever that metric is. But there's a lot of different ways you can do real estate. Like some people
Yeah.
only want to sell to their aunts and uncles and do 2-3 deals a year. Great. Some people only want to sell like ultra luxury. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And my business model, it made sense, of course, like me like approaching it this way, coming from that the roofing background. But my business model is like, let's do as many deals as I possibly can, get my name out there, and then start kind of refining. So I mean, for me, it made sense that way. But some people like cold calling would be like the last thing they'd ever want to do, right? Some people like going to an event's like the last thing they ever want to do. And I would say, like, you have to enjoy it a little bit too. So if that's just like mind numbing and your least favorite part of the day, then like don't do it.
Yeah.
Like realistically, don't do it and find a different way to generate business.
Yeah. That's good advice.
I would think so.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like you have to find ways to market that you can actually enjoy, because if you're enjoying what you're doing, then you're going to thrive.
For sure.
If you're just biting your teeth every time and just
Yeah.
hating what you're doing, you're probably not going to be very successful in whatever that marketing strategy is.
For sure.
If it's not door knocking or cold calling, it may be networking events
Yeah.
or other things, which are, I'm sure, are tools you utilize as well.
Sure. And like some people like kill it on social media, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's like find the avenue that like makes sense for you. We're all different people, so like it's all going to mesh differently for other folks. But
Yeah.
but for me, it made sense, and it was a good way to like just get started. I don't think that's like the trajectory of my business forever is like
Yeah.
cold calling, or I think it's like more sustainable to be working people and like and trust. But for me, it was like, how do I accelerate this? And that was the fastest way to like get in front of people and do a lot of deals. Was like,
Yeah.
let's just crank out numbers, and then that will give me like a really good base to start and then building off of. Was my idea.
Yeah. No, I think that's a phenomenal idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my first year in business, most people set like financial goals for their first year in business. My big overarching goal for the first year was I want to get 100 Google reviews
Nice.
in a year, all from customers, because I knew that if I focused on getting my name out there and people are going to say good things about me. So I think that's smart to really focus on just getting your name out there. And then eventually, if you wanted to go into ultra luxury or whatever you want to do, you could, because people know who Dom Miller is.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
I love that, man. So talk to me about COVID, getting into real estate. What did that first year, 2 years look like for you? Was it like quick off the start?
Yeah.
Were you having some success, or did it take a little while to get that ball rolling?
I got lucky. The company that I worked with when I first started, what was nice about that, and again, like different models in real estate, for sure. But this one, they would give you like cold leads, low intent leads. So I didn't know anyone when I moved here, right? Like I didn't have a sphere or a base of any. I didn't know anyone to call. So we were getting these like cold leads. And then again, like I was already used to kind of like working that same system at the roofing deal that I was doing. But I was lucky. I think I did my first deal like 3 months in, I think, because that was nice. I think like typically it's probably gonna take about 6 months. And I still look at that, like people you're talking to, it takes about 6 months. But I think my first year, I think I did like 16, which was great. And then I think the second year was like mid-20s, 26, 27, something like that. So I was lucky. I hit it off the gate. It was also like 2020, things are moving a little bit more at that point. You had interest rates were low, so people were definitely out there shopping and like moving, which helped. I think like if I got started in this market, it'd be a completely different conversation. So a little bit of like luck and preparation, and just like hitting the market at a decent time. Yeah. But I was lucky. I had like 16. I think it was the first year. It was good, like a good start. Yeah.
Do you believe in luck? Like, do you believe you were lucky, or do you believe that you just put in a lot of work?
Good question. Yeah. I think luck is like a combination of like I think luck is mainly preparation and like a little bit of like timing and good fortune.
Yeah.
But yeah, like shit happens all the time that if you're not prepared for it, I think that like that luck could fall through and you never even notice it necessarily. Yeah. But yeah, I like to think the luck's out there. But I think a lot of it's like preparation, like being ready for like the moment that comes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I can tell you're a humble guy.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
But yeah, I feel like luck happens if you show up every day.
Sure.
Like you show up every day, eventually you're going to get that really amazing client or that $5 million listing or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get those opportunities if you're not showing up every day.
For sure. Yeah. So for me, that's like the preparation piece. Yeah. Like being there, being consistent. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's awesome, man. So, I kind of want to flash forward now. What really intrigues me is just how many transactions you did last year.
Yeah, it was a lot.
A lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot of transactions. And as an individual producer, and I know a decent amount about real estate.
Sure.
I work with
You're in the
real
industry.
estate. I actually tested for my real estate license at one point in time.
Oh, did you? Okay.
And I passed. I just decided not to get my license. But there's so many things that go into a transaction.
Yeah.
You have to get it under contract. Once you get it under contract, there's a bunch of different deadlines. There's, inspections that have to happen on the property. How do you manage that many transactions as an individual producer?
Yeah. Yeah, good question. So in 22 years ago, 2023, I did 58 deals. And that was a lot. Like and of course it's not evenly dispersed. You're not having 6 deals every month, right? So like in the springtime, I think at one time I had 16 that were like under contract, and there was also a good handful that were active, and you're managing all these files. So I was lucky to have so much transactional volume going on that I had to figure out how do I like get this a little bit more concise and how do I systemize this a little bit. So to answer your question, like I leaned really, really heavily into systems. Like very heavily into systems. So then I started figuring out like, okay, I'll do like, if they're an active client, I'll call them on Wednesdays. If they're an active client without any showings, I'll call them on Mondays. If they're a pending client, I'll call them on Wednesdays. So what that did is it eliminated a lot of like scatter in my mind of like, oh shit, I need to reach out to the Jones. Oh shit, I gotta call the Matthews. I gotta call this person. Like all that scatter kind of dissipated a little bit because I knew no matter what stage they're in, they're gonna get like an outreach for me at this specific time. And then a lot of it's like, working in the CRM or whatever database I am, just like getting super organized with that helped me out a lot. I think like organization, I'm just a scattered dude in general, like very scattered. So the organization just keeps me in track. So yeah, just like really getting dialed in on the systems, helped a lot.
Yeah. That's such a cool concept. I think about this all the time with myself. Is just I feel like people too often say like, I don't have enough time. There's not enough time in the day. I hear that so often.
Yeah.
But if you really get dialed in on exactly what you're going to do every day, it takes half the time to do everything because half the time is figuring out what you're going to do.
For sure.
For most people.
Yes.
And then the other half of the time is actually doing it.
Yes.
So you removed that first half out of the equation. When you wake up on a Monday, you know exactly who you're going to call. You know exactly what you're going to do in your CRM. When you wake up on a Tuesday, that's a cool concept. I think more people should.
It's helpful, and like you can use that in any facet. But it's just like organizing. And one thing that like I think I'm really good at is like just being very intentional, right? So being intentional at times I think is good. So like if you're like, I find myself like I'm scrolling through emails and responding to emails, and then you get this, and you're the same way. You get texts and pings and notifications all the time. So I'm working on emails, and then I get a text. So then I'm like, oh, they do the text, and then a call comes, and like all this time wasted coming back and forth, and even like the thought of like how you're working an email versus like how you're working a phone call versus how you're working a text. So like switching back and forth, I think loses a lot of time too. So now what I do is I'm like, okay, I'm going to do all my emails at this time. And then I work on texts, and then I work on calls. That way I'm not bouncing back and forth in between them all. It's a little bit less now that I'm not doing as much like transactional volume, but when we were like really cranking like that was imperative for me too, is like, just like, let's stay in like one sort of brain function. That way we can be as efficient as we can with this, and then switch kind of back and forth. Yeah. And if this like interests you, I read this book, Getting Things Done. I think it's like, I want to say Tim Allen, but I think that's an actor.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think it's Tim Allen.
Okay.
But it's Getting Things Done. That book like changed my life, and that it was all about like organizing your time, understanding time, and like how to get how to get mental clutter out of your brain and then sorting through it after. And like the concepts in that book I use every single day. Like it completely changed the way I operate. Like completely changed the way I operate.
Yeah.
So you should read that.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. Outside of business, I always like to ask people this question, but do you have specific habits outside of just your day to day that help bring that success as well? Like fitness?
Yeah.
Is it certain things you're eating? Do
Yeah.
you drink coffee every day?
Yeah. I think habits are like monumental to your productivity, whether that's personal, business, spiritual, like however you look at that. A lot of people, to get to your point of like, to get you to that success or to get you to the point you're trying to reach, like a lot of people wait on motivation or feeling like, yeah, I feel, every day someone wakes up feeling like hungry and ready to go. But we're all people. Like sometimes you have a shitty day. Like last night, I told you on the way in, like we were at the game late. I drank 3 beers, had a box of candy. Like I didn't feel great this morning. Right. But it's, so like this morning, right? Like when I woke up, I'm not firing on all cylinders. So I think it's kind of foolish to like really rely on just that like motivation. So habits are crucial, I think, truly. So have you read the book Atomic Habits, or
Yeah.
have you read what's the Power of Habit as well?
I don't know if I've read The Power of
Similar concept.
Yeah.
Similar concept. But yeah, so anyway, I'm circling around your question. I apologize.
Fine.
But no, I think fitness is big for me. And I think that like in that book, similar, and not to like copycat that, but you have like the trigger, the action of the habit itself, and you have all those rewards too. So like fitness is very important to me. Like I usually am up 4:30 in the gym by 4:45, 5 o'clock, sometime around there. And that's like the basis of my day, right? So if I don't go to the gym, then I'm already kind of starting down a little bit. And I make that a consistent habit that it's no longer difficult to get in. But then also like, what's the reason I'm going to the gym? It's not just to like look good or be stronger, but that gives me like mental discipline to go through things throughout the day. It gives me the energy to like make it through the day. So yeah, I think like the habits that you make are like crucial. Fitness is a good one that bleeds into like eating healthy, right? Religion or spirituality, like I think focusing on like the positives in your life, the blessings, and like understanding like what's really important to you. Like that's a big piece in me as well. And that just kind of keeps my mindset going and keeps my head on strong for the day. But yeah, I think the habit piece of it, if you're always like forcing to try something new, or you're always forcing yourself to like pick up the phone, or I got to go to this appointment. If you just like make that part of your routine, those like daily effects compound, and it makes life so much easier later on, I think. Because it's no longer like this big roadblock. It's like, this is just what I do, right?
Yeah.
So like back to the organizing my calls or whatever, it's like sometimes you've got that call that like you don't want to make it, right? Like you like, this is gonna suck.
Yeah.
But it's just like, oh no, it's Wednesday at 11 o'clock. Like I know I need to do these calls now.
Yeah.
And it just like helps, for me at least, like just helps you get over these little hurdles. And like I think the biggest thing is like just that compounding effect. Like you can't really rely on like motivation, I think, all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, because motivation comes and goes.
For sure. For sure, yeah.
If your goal is to be a bodybuilder, you're going to wake up one day and you're going to be sore.
Yeah.
So the motivation isn't always going to be there. I think discipline is a lot more important than motivation. And that's a big thing.
I think so too.
Yeah. I recently shift my mindset on that because I consistently wake up early.
Okay.
I'm typically waking up between 4:30 and 6 a.m. But what varied that was, well, what did my night look like?
For sure.
The night before.
For sure.
Did I stay up late and did I watch a TV show, or did I stay up watching the Nuggets game, or whatever it was? And so a couple weeks ago, I told myself, regardless of what time I go to bed, I'm going to wake up at 4:45.
I love it. Yeah,
That's the time I wake up. That's optimal for me. It gets me enough time to get ready for the gym and just kind of set myself up for the day. Because I found myself too many times I would stay up late the night before and I'd be like, oh, well, I'm going to wake up at 6. And it just gets you in that habit of not doing what you said you were going to do.
For sure.
Um,
And like to that point too, like, and how long ago did you say you started doing this?
Started doing it a couple weeks ago.
So you probably have already seen it. And if not, like you definitely will. But if you make that, because that's a big one for me too, is like getting up early. And I'm hard on myself, which I think is important. But when I sleep in, I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, I don't know if you want to swear in this podcast, but like, fuck. Like, damn, I wasted so much time this morning.
Yeah.
But if you do that, if you're focusing on, hey, I'm gonna wake up at 4:45, like you'll realize that next day it's maybe I don't want to have this Bud Light. Like maybe I don't want to go because that habit or that decision that you made is important to you and you want to do that. And so those are like, that's like the reward, quote unquote, from like that book is like, well, okay, so you're no longer going to be staying up late or doing A, B, and C because this new habit is important for you. And then it might be difficult at the beginning, but then you'll just like you'll get, time after time again, like it just makes sense and it's just part of your routine. And it's no longer difficult to like say no to some things that you don't necessarily have to. You kind of cut some time out for yourself, which is good too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. Discipline helps you create better habits because
for sure,
you don't want to have those 3 beers if it's going to affect
the
next day. Which 3 beers is not that much. I don't want you to
think no. Yeah, if I had 3 beers. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So 2023, you really focused on, it seems like, your personal operating system to help you be more successful within your business. Now in 2024, do you feel like, because I know there's so many things out now with AI and you can have virtual assistants, and do you utilize other tools outside of just your personal operating system to help you with your success now?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. Like we use AI. Long story short, for sure. Yeah. You want me to list the tools? There's all kinds of them, I suppose.
Yeah. A few that you think have really helped with your success this last year.
Okay. The number one thing is getting things done by whoever the guy that wrote it, not Tim Allen. I think that's the actor, like I said. So I have this app called Todoist. And this was big for me. So like I found myself a lot of times, like I'm laying in bed, I can't sleep or whatever. I'm just like thinking, I realize that I'm trying to remember not to forget something. Does that make sense? Like I'm always like, oh, I can't forget to call this person. I can't forget to do this. And that like, there's like all these loops going on in my brain that just like we're never getting closed. So how I use Todoist, and you can use anything. I think had like how this guy wrote the box, he did on like envelopes or pieces of paper, which is ridiculous. But Todoist, it's the whole thought behind that is like, how do I get immediate thoughts in my brain and put it onto something so I don't forget it? And I'm no longer having to use brain space about thinking about this. It's now gone. I know I'm going to get back to it. That's like changed my life. So the second I had a client yesterday. We were doing a showing and we were talking about the sink. She wanted to change the sink out. And she said this word. I never heard the word before. And I asked her, like, what is that? And she's like, well, my dad was a plumber. It's A, B, and or whatever. So like immediately it's on my quick app thing. I scroll down, type the word in. That way I know to go back to it. Oh. And that's like part of my morning routine is like going through my inbox. And then what I'll do is I'll sort out like, okay, is this a today task? Is this a call? Is this an email? Back to kind of something out earlier and sectoring my times. So that's Todoist. Todoist is like I couldn't live without Todoist. And people tell me, hey, I need to read a book or I need to listen to this song or watch this movie. Like it immediately goes into my Todoist, and then I then like kind of dispatch it out into whatever folder that is. So I use that a lot. Of course, we use AI for like all kinds of things. But I recently moved over to Compass in April. And what's nice about Compass is they're like very tech oriented and very tech heavy. So for my personal business, almost everything that I need to utilize is like all on their one page, which makes my life so much simpler. So actually this year is like cutting a lot of the things that I used to use out and then now implementing it in their system because they've kind of got like a one-stop shop for everything, which has been really nice. So I haven't been adding on a lot of new things. Plod AI, have you heard of that? That one's pretty nice. That Plod you can like use it to like record conversations and it'll analyze, what you said and kind of help you create like next steps, action plans and filter through that. So that's been kind of beneficial. Jared kind of got me onto that, but outside of those three, like I utilize like the Compass CRM. The biggest one for me is Todoist and just like removing that brain clutter. Yeah. So not a ton, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that people like are craving legitimate connection. I think so. And it's very easy. And I was kind of at that point where my business, I was doing so many transactions that just like naturally got transactional. So I'm really focusing on like making it more relationship based and spending more time with my clients. So I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm almost going the opposite direction a little bit. Like I'm trying to kind of detach myself from some of these systemations and automations and like really put a little bit more care and effort into it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of taking some of that back.
I think that's good, man. I've been thinking about this a lot too, but yeah, I feel like people really are craving authenticity because it's so easy to just type something in ChatGPT and have it, write up an email for you
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever it is. It takes you out of it. And especially in real estate, with so many agents to choose from, they're working with you because of you,
For
not
sure.
because of Compass.
Yeah,
Not even because of your resume, but
Sure.
because they like you as an individual and they think you're capable of doing what you need to do.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I feel like people just really want authenticity and it's easy. It's easy to just type something in and
for sure.
kind of
For sure.
take your mind out of it.
Yeah.
But I like how you've really utilized these tools to just help you be more efficient,
Yeah.
to be who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a cool concept. I think more people should utilize AI for that purpose. My wife told me something kind of recently where one of her mentors was talking about AI, and saying that you should be using it to be the worker and not the creative. Because it's easy to make ChatGPT or whatever the AI is, the creative, where it just takes
That's
your
what
mind
you're
out of it.
Yes.
But if it can just help you be more efficient,
Yeah.
I think that's the direction we should be heading in.
For
So I
sure.
like how you tell that.
For sure. Yeah. And I think that's correct too. Like, yeah, I think it's correct. I think it's good to use it to help you kind of like filter through your brain processes.
Yeah.
Right. So I agree with that. What's your wife do for work?
So she's a stay-at-home wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she helps
Okay.
me with a lot of stuff.
Uh-huh.
She also is in ministry.
Uh-huh.
So she helps coach other women
That's awesome. Good for
with
her.
their faith and things
Good for
along
her.
those lines. And so she just has really amazing people in her circle that have kind of coached her
Yeah.
through that phase of her life. But
I asked because my wife, she's a nurse, so she doesn't use ChatGPT.
okay.
And so she uses it to like look at what's in the fridge and how can we make sure we use all of our fridge items
so
for dinner.
cool. Yeah.
So it's just kind of funny.
It can do so much, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It can do so much. So talk to me about being an individual producer. Like, what are your future goals? I know a lot of realtors create a team. Is that something you want to do, or are you really just focused on the now and creating more success as an individual producer?
It's kind of daunting to think that. I think that like by the time I get to like a team structure, it's kind of a ways out. We've got a good thing going right now, and I don't really want to like mess that up necessarily. So my immediate steps are like building more of more support roles. I think realistically, I want to like fall back on my own shoulders. I don't necessarily care to like rely on other agents of my team to like increase my top line, which kind of is against the norm, I think, for a lot of folks. But it's just not something that I like right now I care to do, frankly, at all. So my goal is like, how do I free up more time for myself to allow me to put a little bit more energy, a little bit more effort into like the relationship basis of it, still take up market share, still do a lot. But because I've got Abby as my assistant and there's a lot that's on her plate. So it's like, how do I free up a little bit more of her time? She's like great with clients too. So how do I get her to be involved with more clientele? So it's just right now my goal is, and I'm kind of working on that right now, but it's like, how do I add a little bit more support staff back there, whether that's on the social media side, some more like just office admin role stuff. There's a lot of different ways that you could utilize that. But I think for me right now, I'm just trying to figure out how do I get some more time back, because I think the productivity and the production, it's all there for me right now, and I think it'll continue. Ideally, it continues to stay there.
Yeah.
So I'm not super keen on like building a team at all right now, but building a team of agents rather. But I'm really focusing on like just getting myself some more time, being able to put more into the clients, and I think that's difficult with just us two at this point with the amount of clients that we have. So if I decrease the amount of transactions I was doing, we'd be fine. But I don't think that's necessarily the goal, right? It's like keep doing more. So it's just getting a little bit more support staff to allow us like put more into each of our clients is the goal right now.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea. So essentially you're looking to buy back your time.
For sure.
Sounds like.
For sure. And that's like, that was my first step with hiring the assistant, which was amazing. But what I realized is I had like all this, I did buy back a lot of time and I had all this extra time. And then like me being me, I just filled it with doing more stuff and we got more top line, which is great.
Yeah.
So yeah, now it's not necessarily buying back time just for myself, but it's like giving that a little bit to Abby as well. And just like keeping things efficient and making sure we're kind of like continuing to elevate what we can put out and put in to our clients.
Yeah.
And it's difficult with just 2, I think, right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's a really hard part about being a business owner is trying to find like, what are my highest leverage tasks and what are my employees' highest leverage tasks? You know, because for me, it doesn't make sense for me to be doing things that I'm not really even that good at.
Sure.
It's kind of a waste of money and a waste of my time. So finding people that can do that role and probably excel better in that role. And then the same thing for my employees. I have a couple employees.
Yeah.
They're all amazing, but each of them is really, really good at certain specific things.
Sure.
But because we're still a small company, I have them doing a lot more than that.
Yeah.
You know, so getting to a certain point, you have to decide, hey, how can I buy back my time and then buy back their time, but specifically for the tasks that they're really, really good at.
For sure.
And then find somebody that can do the other stuff.
For sure. And I think that's like what a good owner or a good manager, that's like what they should be excelling at is how do I figure out these specific individuals? How do we make sure that they're optimizing their time, their energy? And like you said, like you can, if you've got 6 different tasks, you can, plug 6 different people in to do it, but person 3 might excel at it. So it's like, okay, well, you start focusing on, well, how do we make sure that they're doing more actions like this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting to like figure out what kind of personalities mesh with what kind of tasks needs to be done, and like making sure you make the right decision with that.
For sure. And then typically they enjoy it.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
People often thrive in what they enjoy. So then you have happier employees.
Yes.
And they're more productive. So it's a win-win for everybody. Yeah. Everybody gets happy. When I think about real estate, I think typically about an older demographic.
Okay. Interesting.
I don't know. I see a lot of realtors, and I guess assume the average age of a realtor is probably a little bit older than 27 years old.
For sure.
Has that ever been a hurdle for you, being a young producer for some of your clients?
Good question. I think it's been a hurdle for me mentally, but not like, I don't think the clients have ever put that on me. I think that's a very limiting belief that like we place on ourselves, to be honest. Is like, I'm too young for this, or I'm younger than everyone else. Like, to hell with that, man. I think the amount of times that I've had a client say you're too young is 0. Like, frankly, 0. But like just yesterday, my client like specifically said like, hey, you're young and ambitious and driven. So I think if anything, like that's a huge benefit. And for whatever reason, I think we place that on ourselves. I'm sure you've probably been in a similar situation, but I absolutely did. Like, I shaved my beard and I was like, damn, I look so young, bro. I look so young. And that's how the conversation came up, because this is the first time she saw me since I did my beard. But I think that's something that we place on ourselves. And I think if anything, the clients would prefer to have someone, because if they're older than you, because like realistically, it's your clients, it's not your peers. You don't care about what the peers think, of course. But like realistically, if the clients are older than you, which of course they're going to be, they've seen those transitions and those stages of life, and like you're not a fool to know that like you're going to lose a little bit of energy as you age. So I would think most people probably appreciate the fact that like you're young and driven and eager to go out there and have a lot of energy, and maybe you don't have children or as many like things tying you at the home as much as you do in another sense. And then like also too, like the old dog, it's difficult to teach old dog new tricks, and like things are moving and changing daily. And I think for real estate specifically, like it's not the easiest market right now. So you have to find different ways and get creative with things, and marketing is more important than ever. And I think if anything, it's a leg up, frankly. Yeah. Frankly. Now it's going to depend, of course, on like who you're like, I don't want like the young, hungry surgeon maybe to like operate on me, or maybe like the newest attorney. I don't know if I'd want to represent me, but for the most part, I would say like being young and ambitious, like that's a huge benefit. Like a huge benefit.
Yeah, I feel like we're our hardest critics too.
Absolutely.
So, like, I liked how you said that it's been a hurdle for you
Yeah.
mentally,
Yeah.
but you've never heard a client talk about it.
Never once. Never
Yeah.
once have I had a client be like, "You're too young." Like,
Mm.
no one's ever said that.
Yeah.
And if anything too, like, you talk about, like, getting objections out, like, bring like, when they if you, like, hop out of your vehicle and they've got so you're saying, like, you think an agent's gonna be, like, middle-aged man or whatever, woman or whatever that might look like. But the second you step out, you're already kind of throwing them off. And then, like, I think if you really excel and like prove your value, I think that's going to help build trust like way quicker anyways, because you've already kind of shooken them up and they're kind of thinking a little bit differently than they probably would with anybody else. And maybe they're
Yeah.
taking your actions and what you say in a different direction. I
Mm.
think it's good.
Yeah.
I think it's good for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I also love how you said too, it's just like, maybe 25 years ago,
Hmm.
being a younger real estate agent may have not just been a mental hurdle for you. It may have actually been a hurdle for getting more
Hmm.
clients. But now the younger generation, I feel like, is utilizing a lot more tools.
Yeah,
Something I see a lot with real estate today is the use of social media.
for sure.
And I think it's a lot easier for a younger person that grew up with Instagram and Facebook and all these things
Mhm.
to get in front of a camera and record themselves or
Yeah,
utilize social media more. So, um, yeah, I do definitely think it can be a leg up.
I think so.
Yeah.
Do you have those? Have you like thought through that? Is that like a concern that you've had going into this?
I don't, I think it's more of a mental hurdle for me as
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
because a majority of the people I do business with are much older than me.
sure.
A pretty small portion of my business is with real estate professionals.
Hmm.
A much larger portion of it is with roofing professionals.
Sure.
And I'd say the average owner of the roofing companies I work with is probably 45,
Makes sense.
you know?
Yeah, that makes
I'm
sense.
so much older. And so they see a younger person come in, and sometimes I'm thinking maybe I'm being judged, or
Sure.
maybe they don't think I'm as qualified. And so my work really has to make up for it.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but when you said that, it really kind of clicked for me that,
Uh huh.
yeah, it probably is just a mental thing because I've never had anybody tell me that. Um, yeah, I feel like our work just kind of speaks for itself,
Yeah.
and all they care about is a quality service. So if you
Truly.
can provide a quality service, I don't
Yes.
think it matters if you're 27 or if you're, 73.
Yeah. I
Um,
think what you just said is really good. You said like, are they judging you? Yeah, absolutely. Like everyone does, right?
Yeah.
For sure. But what you said was like that makes you raise your quality, and that's what I think. Like that's what's great about it, is like you have these objections up front that like are there, and maybe it's an objection or whatever, but that's there. So like you kind of have to elevate yourself to like maybe overcome that, and then make that like now it's no longer an issue.
yeah,
That's exactly it. Like you know that you're not the same as everybody else, right? So
Mhm.
then you're elevating yourself, and I think immediately once you start doing that, they no longer give a damn about your age or whatever. They care about, oh, heck, how's this guy presenting himself? What's he bringing up? What's the value he's going to give to me, right? And I
yeah,
think that having to like forcing yourself to work towards that and elevate that because of X. And again, I think that's like a complete like limiting belief that we place on ourselves. But having that up front, I think helps elevate everything, which is at the end of the day what they're looking for.
yeah,
But when you're like the cock of the walk and you've been doing this for 30 years, you don't have to prepare as much. Maybe you just walk in, you're like, oh, I'm that guy, right?
yeah.
So you're not like putting forth as much effort and energy as you probably should, or
Hmm.
other people are. So that's why I think it's a benefit,
Yeah.
frankly.
I saw you just got, was it married or engaged?
Married.
Married.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
I got married in September of last year.
Congrats. Congrats.
Yeah. For me, sometimes managing work-life balance is hard.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I struggle disconnecting
Yeah.
from work and things like that. Do you feel like that's been a hurdle for you at all now that you're married, just really dedicating, specific time for work and specific time for family?
Has that been difficult?
Has that been a
Hell
hurdle
yeah.
for you? Yeah. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Work-life balance is silly because it's like it's never balanced.
Mhm.
So like that phrase is like a oxymoron,
Yeah.
I think. So yeah, it's been very difficult. And I think it's something that like I'm still trying to work on. Like it's always trying to optimize that. So for me at least, like how we were able to like make that work, it's a lot,
Mhm.
We've been together for 11 years. So like she's seen the ups and downs and like how much effort, energy we put into things. And she works 12-hour shifts. Like it's not like she's like not doing anything. Like she's working full time too. But what we've got, like we've just become very intentional, I think, about like our time together and then our time at work. So like when I'm working, like I'm working, like I put a filter on my phone. I'm not getting Instagram notifications. I'm not getting Facebook notifications. Like I get Gmail. Like I get the apps that I'm using for work. Like, so when I'm at work, I'm doing work. When I'm at home, like I'm at home, and I've been fortunate to like get some support that can help me kind of take some of that off, right? But like after like 7 o'clock, like my phone's down. Like I need a life too, right? I think, and it's very easy, like always want to be Johnny in the spot, like always getting to your customers, always getting to your clients. But I really think that just like inhibits chaos. I think that it just like fosters chaos. So for us, it's just being really intentional with it. Like we've got each other's calendars. I live on my calendar. So like she knows this afternoon I got something at 6 to 8. So like I'm not going to be home 6 to 8. So like we're going to make up that time tomorrow because we're not going to have the time today. So yeah, I think it's just like knowing, understanding. We used to do like I'll put my phone down, but then it's like I'm just checking it anyways, right? Yeah. So it's a hard thing, and it's like it's a blessing and a curse. You go on vacation, and luckily for me, she's like very understanding, and she kind of grew up with that as well. So she understands like this is not like a 9 to 5. It's like it's kind of what we live and die on. But so one, like grace to her for like understanding that and like working with me through that. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is just knowing when to like turn it on and when to turn it off, and like being fully, that's like the hardest thing for me, I think, and probably a lot of people, but it's like being fully invested into like the here and now, not the shit, tomorrow I got to do this, or I need to get back to this person, or like waiting for her to like quit speaking so I can go finish this email that I was doing or whatever, right? So it's like just getting like really clear with that, and like being present helps a lot. Cause that's a lot. Like none of this works if you got issues at home, right? Like to be good at work, you got to be good at home, and be home, frankly, like be good at home. Like, frankly, I got to be good at work. Like they have to coincide. So that work-life balance, like it's never this even scale at all. But it's just like, just be intentional and like really be there. I think it helps a lot. And I'm not like the master by all means, but that's helped us.
Yeah. No, I like how you said that it's never balanced. It's not a good term at all.
No, it isn't. Yeah.
Sometimes you need to pour more into the marriage or the family, and then sometimes work is a little bit more demanding and you have to pour into that.
For sure.
And I think the important thing is to just find a spouse that understands that. And
that will help.
That will help. Because my wife's been great with it. She understands that sometimes work is very demanding of me.
Yeah.
And I've got to lock in for 13, 14 hours that day.
Yeah.
But like you said, I'm going to make that time back up, or I'm going to try to make that time back up. Yeah, but it's never balanced.
No, because like the second it's balanced, you get a phone call, and it's like, okay, like so much for that. Yeah, it's like that's gone.
Yeah.
But it's important because like, like I love work. I'm very ambitious, but like at the end of the day, like work isn't like my life. I mean, it is my life, but like that's not really why I'm getting out of bed, isn't like to work, like there's more important things to me personally. Like my relationship with my wife is by far the most important thing to me.
Yeah.
So it's like if I'm not going to be putting time into that and putting all my time into work, like, it's going to suffer immediately, of course, and then you're going to have all kinds of problems.
Yeah.
So understand like what's important to you, and other things, like talk through it, right? Like trying to figure out how does this make sense for each other. Some people need like time to talk, or, time together, whatever that might look like, but it's like, just figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a difficult thing though. Like it really is. The second you think you're all good to go, that's when like the fires happen, and it's like, well, shit, I was hoping this would be a nice time, nice time. So it's a difficult concept.
Yeah. But you got to do what you got to do.
But you got to figure it out. Yeah. You got to figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, like having someone being understanding is probably the biggest thing, because you can't just shut off. Like her, it's amazing. She gets home from work and she's like,
she's
done.
Yeah. She's clocked out.
Done. Yeah.
Don't worry about
Hell
anything.
no. Done. Yeah. I'm like, oh, like curse you. That sounds so nice.
It's tough. You have to pick your poison.
Yeah.
Because, I feel like, for those 12 hours she is at work, it's probably a relatively high stress environment, being a nurse. But then, when you're working for yourself, then it can always technically be a high stress environment. It never shuts off. So got to pick your poison.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about giving back and what's the importance of that. Cause I see you're a guy that cares a lot about giving back. I saw you just
Thank
recently
you.
did a charity event
Hmm.
for Denver Children's Foundation,
Yeah,
which looked like it was a huge turnout.
I loved it. It was awesome. We had
Yeah.
so much fun.
Man, I'm so disappointed. I know you DM'd me on Instagram and invited me, but it was my wife's birthday weekend, and so we had plans to leave
Oh,
town.
come on. You could have
I
missed
know,
that. You could have missed that. No, just kidding.
Tell me about that. Tell me about the event first. I'm curious to hear about it, and then I want to hear about what made you decide to give to Denver Children's Foundation
Yeah.
over all the other organizations out here,
Yeah,
and just what's the importance of giving back to you?
for sure. I'm glad you brought that up. So the event was a golf tournament. It was the Dominic Miller Homes Charity Open. First annual, we'll definitely do it again. We had like it was a lot of fun, way more fun than I was expecting. I was nervous about all the coordination and like, am I going to actually enjoy this? Am I just be like managing all this? And like had a blast. It's like thank you to everybody that showed up and participated. But so we had a golf tournament. It was a scramble style, shotgun format. At the beginning, I was hoping to get like 72 people. We ended up having, I think it was 136 golfers that actually showed up. There was like 144 that signed up, but 136, maybe it was 132. So it was like a lot of people were there.
Yeah.
It ran really well. We had like some cool giveaways. Like there was some like trips that you could. There's a silent auction for like some trips. Like there was the U.S. Open. There was like some stays in Mexico and
Cool.
art that was donated. Some like just sports memorabilia. There's some cool like little rewards and raffle prizes, and we raised $19,200 and some change, which was amazing. Like amazing.
Was that more than you expected, or
So
was that kind of around the ballpark of what your goal was?
it's funny when I only had like 2 months probably to like plan all this. And at first I was like, hey, if we can raise like 5,000, that will be awesome. And I started making some calls, and then like the next day I come into the office, I'm like, all right, we're gonna raise like 10,000. And then it was like 15, and then it's got to 20, and I'm like, oh, like, I don't know how this is gonna go. But I really wanted to raise 15. Like once I like really got focused on it, and like what's like realistic with all this, like I was like really, really, really hoping to get 15. To be honest, I thought we were gonna fall short of that. Like I did. And like just had like a great, like the community just really helped out. People really bought into it. It's a great mission, which helps absolutely. But yeah, surpassed the goal, which was amazing. And I went to Denver Children's Foundation for a couple reasons. This year, like earlier in this year, I made the switch to Compass, and I was focusing on like, you know, how do I want to like rebuild this now that it's like a personal brand? Like it's, you know, it's everything's in my control now. Like what do I like really want to focus on? And I got to the point where like I was doing all the trend. You know, like a lot of people like ask you like, what's your why? You know, I'm sure you've heard that. Like, what's your why? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And I think your why should change over time. And I figured out that like mine definitely started, like at first it was always about like just like make enough money to like be healthy, be happy, be able to do the things my wife and I want to do. And like fortunately, like we did that. And I saw like it started, and maybe it's like, I say age is funny, I'm 27, but like maybe it's like as we're doing this more often, I'm like, it's not just about doing the transactions anymore. I'm like, you know, and with the transactions too, like you get a lot of purpose out of that. Like I've had the closings where they're like, they're bawling, like they're so grateful to get, you know, because a lot of times people are selling for like death or divorce, not the best reason. So I've had those where everyone's bawling and like so appreciative to get out there. And that brings you a lot of joy, frankly. So I was just trying to figure out like what's the purpose behind all this? Like, why am I really doing this? And what do I really want to do? Who do I want to be remembered by? And where I'm from, it's like very communal. It's a small town. It's like a very communal environment. So I started thinking, I'm like, okay, I'll do something with charity. I want to give back in some way. And I was looking at some of the charities around Denver, national charity organizations, and I didn't love that like everyone's getting paid and people are making a lot of money off of that. It just didn't really sit well with me. Like it didn't really sit with me at all, frankly. I was like, if this is like really important to you, you could just find some people that would help out, I think. So then I told myself, okay, well, I'm like, well, if I can't find like someone to just give it to, I'll start a nonprofit, and I'm not going to pay myself for this, and I can start, you know, raising donations and distributing it out to folks and to groups and individuals that I think might make some sense. And I went to the Polo Classic that Denver Children's Foundation puts on, and I see like 50 dudes running around like with their got their buttons on, their name tags or whatever, and they're doing everything. And I know a couple members that were there, so I started asking them all these questions about how it works, how it operates, and there's only one person that gets paid, and he does all the organizational stuff. He does all the back end. It makes sense that he gets paid, but all the rest of us, we're all just like volunteers. We're all, it's 100 men that are philanthropic business individuals, and they're doing all the work, like all the heavy loading. They're running the events. They're the ones that are doing the raising of the funds. So it made a lot. So that intrigued me for a couple different reasons. I liked like the communal sense of like the guys network. We're all kind of like in business, so I thought it'd be like a lot of like really good like-minded people. I really enjoyed the fact that they're doing the work though. But what got me was like the events that they do one Christmas for kids, and they're it's a not only are they raising money to like help kids get their presents, but what I thought was really cool is their mission's to like build and develop philanthropic leaders as well, not just raising money for at-risk and underprivileged youth, but developing the philanthropy side of business owners, not necessarily owners, but business individuals. Yeah. And what's cool about the Christmas for Kids is like we'll do this year. We'll pick up a child, and it's part of Denver Kids, so like they're part of an organization. The school will pick them. We kind of get involved with their counselors and understand the kid a little bit, their family structure, but anyways, to get to what I'm trying to say is like you take the kid and you take him out shopping, which I think is really cool. Like early in the morning, we'll take them to Target, and they get to shop for like the rest of their family, which I think is really cool. Sweet. So not only like they get into gifts, and then also you're kind of teaching them a little bit, and it's one day, sure, but like they have to understand how to budget, right? If they get $200, like they can't go buy an Xboxes for everyone in their family. They kind of have to budget. So I thought that was just like a really cool concept. They have cool events, and they're raising a shitload. Like last year, they raised $1.5 million. Their goal is to raise $2 million this year. So it just seemed like the right organization to send the money to. I wanted to be involved in a charity that I could get behind. The youth is one that's big for me. Women going through somewhat sort of a struggle is big to me as well. So I just like really vibed with the mission and the guys that are around it, like talking to all the people. It just seemed to make sense. So I just got added as a new member this year, actually, which I'm super excited about.
Congrats, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm stoked.
It sounds like a phenomenal organization. I told you before the podcast, but I have heard of them, and they do seem like a great organization.
It's cool.
I really agree with what you said, that your why can change.
Yeah.
And to some extent, it should change.
I think it should.
I don't think your why should stay the same forever, because life changes. And, sometimes your why gets accomplished. Originally your why was to just be healthy and happy, and to have the means to be able to be healthy and happy. And you accomplish that. And so it's like, what's the purpose beyond that? Would you say your purpose has shifted into, wanting to help others, wanting to create more leaders, it sounds like, in the future? What would you say your why is now?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think right now, like my big focus right now is when I moved brokerages, and again, I was like really thinking through everything. I was kind of floored, honestly. Like when I really looked back and like really put things into perspective, it's like I moved to a city. I didn't know anyone here. I've got no roots here, no connections here whatsoever. And like over 200 people like use me to help them buy and sell real estate, which is amazing. So I'm like, the community is really pouring into me. And again, like for me, where I'm from, it's such a communal sense. So right now, like what I'm really focusing on is like, how do I like just be a better man, to be honest? And that's like, sounds kind of canned, but it is. It's like, I think that doing the deals is great. Chasing the money is great. Don't get me wrong. Like I want to do a lot more with business. That's why I get up every day for that, right? Like I want to do more, but I do think that like recognizing how I've gotten here and like where I want to go is important. And I think a big piece of that is like accepting and recognizing who's filled into you, and then be able to like fill back into them. So developing the team, making sure, and this is like maybe a little bit egotistical, I suppose, but like I want like everyone on the team to eat too. I want like this to be as important to them as it is to me. So like that's really important. It's like how do I pour back into the team to make sure we're all like on the same kind of playing field here? And yeah, like the way I grew up, like I had a lot of people that helped me, frankly, in like a lot of different areas of my life. And I just thought like it's time to do something bigger than myself. And yeah, so that's like my main focus is just like how do we still do business at a high level, but make it like a little bit more meaningful, have a little bit more purpose behind what we're doing is really what I'm focusing on.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think too often people put too much emphasis on just money.
Yeah.
Um, and I think when you ask somebody if they want to be successful, you have to really define what success is.
Sure.
Because, for you, it sounds like success for you is just being a great man,
Sure.
a great leader, somebody that makes an impact and gets remembered.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know a lot of people that have made a lot of money or currently still make a lot of money, and they're
Yeah.
not the greatest people.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, for
and I
sure.
know a lot of people that don't make any money,
Yeah.
but they're phenomenal fathers.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal leaders. They make an impact, and when they leave this earth, they'll be remembered for
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
So I think you really have to define what success is. When you say you want to be successful, what does that look like?
Yeah, that's funny. So that what you just said is like exactly how I think about that. When I was thinking about success, it's like, okay, is it like, how do you quantify that, right? So I'm like, is it a benchmark of money in your bank account? But like, that's just like, it's just numbers. Is it something materialistic? Like someone's always gonna make more money. There's always gonna be new shiny objects to chase, right? And I agree with you. Like some of the people that I know that like don't have a lot are like the happiest people I've ever been around. Like they're just like a joy to be around. There's not a lot of negativity, probably not as much pressure going on in their lives, and they're just like happy. And like there's something to be said about living a simple life for sure, I think too. And then like adversely, like you said, yeah, a lot of people I know with good, like great wealth, like have issues at home or whatever it might look like. So for me, like success is just, it's like peace. It's like being proud of who you are and how you wake up and how you show up in the day. I think that's like what, at least me personally, like that's what I'm striving for. If I'm just striving for the money like that, you're just like on this rat wheel and you're gonna eventually like burn out, spin out. Like there's just no way. There's always more money. Elon Musk is about to be a trillionaire, I guess, right? Like there's always more money to go. So I think like that's just like a fool's errand chasing that. And so, yeah, it's like just kind of focusing like what's important to you. And to me, it's like showing up correctly, at least for my morals. It's like showing up correctly, being a good person and like being proud of who I am. If I can do that consistently, then I could say like, oh, I made it, right? Like that's, if success is like going on trips, like just get a credit card. You can like max your credit card out in a day, like go do that. But for me, it's just like being happy with who I am, how I'm showing up, how I'm interacting with people, and like what kind of an impact I'm like delivering when I'm like approaching people or speaking with them.
I love that, man.
For me, yeah.
Yeah. So I've talked to you a lot about who you are as an individual and the success you've achieved. I always like to ask business owners about this because I feel like, on Instagram and Facebook, everybody gets to see the highlight reel.
Yeah.
They get to see all the good, but they don't get to see like the stressful, sleepless nights and the fires you have to put out with clients. What would you say some of the biggest adversity you've faced since getting into real estate and working for yourself?
It's just like the constant grind, right? Like, and I love that like grind culture, and that like let's just go mentality is awesome. But that's like very broad, I suppose, as well. But that's the biggest one. Is it's day in and day out, no matter Monday through Sunday. If it's a holiday, if your uncle died, like it's getting up and like putting in the work consistently every single day because you have to. Like that's the biggest thing. And it's very, very broad, but it's daunting. It's like you're doing it or you get to like this is about to come up, and I know I'll feel this again. But you get to the end of the year, and then you're like, oh, I hit my goal, and then it's like new goal starts today, right? Like it's like you have to start today. So it's just like it's accepting and owning that that grind. Yeah, that's the biggest challenge is like just going and you have to, right? Like it depends on where you're at, of course, in business. But for me, it was like I was in that scale mode. So it was like there's no time for time off. And I knew that, and like my wife knew that, and that's like what we set ourselves out to do. But it's just like when things get tough, when life happens, when you're not feeling it, it's just how are we going to like step forward, always forward, never straight? Like how are we consistently moving day in and day out to like hit your goal? Because I knew that if I wasn't going to do that, like I'm falling behind. So that's the biggest one, I'd say. Like the biggest piece of adversity is just like understanding how to like put your head down and like work and like really get after it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Dom, it's been a pleasure having you on this
Hell yeah.
podcast,
Yeah.
man. You're a phenomenal person to learn from.
Thank you.
You've accomplished a lot at a very young age, and I'm truly excited to just see your name continue to
Thank you.
move up.
Thank you.
As a Colorado real estate agent. I know it's coming, man.
Yeah.
I know. I'm going to see you right up there at the top here soon.
I appreciate it.
I always like to ask people this to kind of close out the conversation.
Okay.
But if you could give one piece of advice to somebody getting into sales or getting into real estate, or maybe just leaving the 9 to 5, somebody getting started, what's that one piece of advice you would give them?
The one piece of advice I would give is like, get very clear, very, very clear, and get very intentional very quickly. I'm like channeling my inner Nick Saban, but he had like, and he's like great for one-liners. But he said like, you can ask every college football team, do you want to win the national championship this year? And everyone's going to say yes. Or you ask them what their goal is, they're all going to say, I want to be a national champion. But it's like, do you really understand what you have to do to actually get there? And sometimes you're not set, like, if my goal is like, I want to sell a $20 million house and that's my goal today. It's like, am I actually there? Right? Understanding like what's it going to take to actually get there? So if you're starting fresh and you're just trying to figure out how to get your toes in the water, I would say like, get very, very clear on what you actually want. A lot of people say they want to be successful. A lot of people say they want to be the best, but they don't really want to do what it takes to be there. And then you've got this like overhanging pressure that like you're never going to hit it, and you're just feeling this pressure, and you feel like you're missing steps, and you feel like you're not getting there, you're not getting traction, and then you kind of fizzle out. So get very, very clear on what you want, understand what it's going to take to get to what you want, and then get extremely intentional with your time and your actions. And if it's not like getting you closer to that goal, then like shut it off. If it's really that important to you, you'll like find a way to shut it off. But get clear with your goals and your vision, and like get very intentional.
Yeah. Well, Dom, it's been great having you on the podcast, man. That was great advice.
Thanks.
And I look forward to continuing to watch your journey and getting to know you as an individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yep.
This was a blast.
Cool.